Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you could play a song by Chubby called The Twist. And it starts off with this cool little intro lick where you could play 2nd fret on the A string. It's kind of following the sax line and kind of putting the bass line together. And you can do that 8 times. And then we go to open A 8 times. And then we go to open E, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you may want to do kind of 2 hits, kind of an E at the very end. So just kind of following that intro, you'd have B, A, E, E, E. Now if you wanted to back that up with chords though, and we'll talk about a couple different options here, you'd start out on a B7 chord. And when you play B7, first finger goes to the D string on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the G string 2nd fret, and the pinky on the high E string 2nd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a B7 chord, which sounds really nasty. Now you could also kind of take the 3rd finger and lay that over the G and the B and the E, and make that a B9, and that can be a very, very cool option through the song too. Or if you're more digging on bar chord options, you could kind of do this as a 2nd fret bar, with 3rd finger over the D, G, and B string, and kind of do it as a B major chord. Or you could use the 3rd finger on just the D string 4th, pinky on the B string 4th, and do a B7 that way. Or you could take this and make it a 7th fret bar, 2nd finger on the G string on the 8th fret, 3rd finger on the 9th fret on the A, and work your B7 that way. And then from the B, we'd be going to an A major chord when we play A major. First finger goes to the D on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the B string 2nd fret. If you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now, through the song, though, you may want to kind of lift off your 2nd finger and make that an A7 chord, or you could even kind of readjust your fingers and add the pinky in on the high E 3rd, do an A7 that way. Or if you're digging on bar chord options, you could kind of do this as a 5th fret bar, 2nd finger on the G string 6, 3rd finger on the A string 7, and kind of do an A7 chord that way. Or you could even add the pinky in on the B string and kind of go for that sound with an A7. And then from the A, we're going to be going to an E major chord. When we play E major, first finger goes to the G on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now, you may also want to think about lifting off the 3rd finger and making that an E7 chord, or you could take the pinky and add it in on the B string on the 3rd fret and get an E7 that way. Or actually, if you're kind of digging on that B9 shape we were doing earlier, you could take that shape and slide it up to the D string 6th fret, 2nd finger on the A string on the 7th fret, and 3rd finger over the G, B, and E on the 7th fret, where that is a E9 chord that way, which could be kind of a cool option through the song too. Now there's a couple different strumming options you may want to think about through that intro and kind of later on for our whole verse chorus. But you could start out with just downstrokes and kind of follow that lick, kind of 8 downs on each of those chords, and then you kind of have that E push, kind of a down, down. So downs could be kind of cool, and I'm kind of adding in a little bit of right hand muting with that just to kind of make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more sneaky. So you may want to play around with that. Or a lot of times with a song like this, to make it more interesting, I like using something called a strum pattern. There's a couple different strum patterns you may want to play around with. You could do this as a down, down, up, which is one of my favorite strum patterns. So if you took the B7 and just tried that a lot, and you have the down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. So you may dig on that kind of that B7 or B9, and a good cool variation of that, especially for bluesy stuff, can be a down, up, down, up, up, down, up. So you have down, up, down, up, up, down, A, down, up, down, up, down, B, down, up, down, up, down, B, down, down. So you may want to play around with that. Or something else that can be kind of cool is adding in bass notes. So you may want to kind of think of taking that B7, for instance, and you can use that A string for your bass and make it a bass down, up, down, up. Or you can even kind of work that as kind of a bass up, down, up. Kind of digging on that variation. So you can have the B7 with the bass, A with an A bass, E with a low bass. And then from there, then we go into our main verse chorus. And our main verse chorus starts out with 4 E majors. I'm really following kind of a 12-bar blues form. And then we go to an A major for 2 bars. And then we go back to E major for 2 bars. And then we go to B7, and then we kind of do this cool little hit on the A, where you may want to take the A and just do kind of a down and kind of kill the strings with your right hand. So I'm kind of thinking down kill kind of on that A. And then you go back to E major, and then we do another E major. So you could do that with just kind of those downstrokes, that E, and then the A, and then B7, B9, and then big A hit, and then come back in on the E. Or you could work that as the down, down, up, and have the E. In on the E, or you can add basses to that, and then you have the E with the bass, then kind of A hit, and then we back on the E. Try that variation, kind of taking on that. It's kind of the down, up, down, up, down, up, with the bass up, down, up, and then we back to E. And then we'll basically be repeating that until we get to kind of a solo part. And our solo is exactly the same, except for we kind of fill in that A chord where we were doing the hit. What you may want to do is kind of take a little bit of all these things that we're kind of talking about and kind of think about mixing that up. And that can always be kind of a cool thing to kind of see what you can say with the song too, kind of make it a little bit your own. So we just kind of fill in that A for the solo. And then from there, then we'll be going back into our verse chorus. Now, something else I really think about doing with the song, though, is using some things I call blues licks. And one of my favorite blues licks that get kind of a good stock one to start with is if you take the first finger and go to the A string on the 2nd fret, and you kind of do a down up over the E and the A strings together. So it's kind of a 2-string strum, it's kind of a down up. And then you take the 3rd finger and go to the A string 4th fret, and then do a down up. So I'm kind of doing down up with 1st finger, down up with 3rd finger, even though I'm on the 2nd fret and the 4th frets. So I'm thinking 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 3, 3. It's kind of down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And I call that the E lick. And you can mix that up all kinds of ways. You could do kind of a 1, 1, 3, 1 idea with the left hand. Or you could fill it in 1, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1 and kind of get a walking bass line. Or you could even do the 3rd finger on the low E string and kind of get a different kind of sound that way. And all these can be cool little pieces of vocabulary you can mix up and kind of say what you can say with the song. And all those E ideas we could completely move to the A string and the D string to get kind of some A lick ideas. And it's kind of like 2 of the stock licks will take up your down, down, up, down. It's kind of the 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we tried mixing up kind of our verse chorus with those blues licks. We have the E, let's see, we're going to play around with that one. And then B7, and then we got our E, kind of coming back in. So that might be something else you want to kind of mix up through that verse chorus too, is kind of E. Working like a 12-head blues, but this would completely work. And this E. Around these chords too, feel free to kind of throw those into the mix. At the very end, we kind of have our 2 big E hits right after that last, or on that last E. But that's the basics of how you can strum through the twist by Chubby Checker. So good luck.